Welcome to Rays of Hope, where inspiration meets possibilities. Join us on this journey as we explore videos that illuminate the path to positivity, resilience, and success. What is perfectionism? Ever catch yourself striving for flawlessness? You're not alone. Perfectionism is a mindset that many grapple with daily. It's the constant pursuit of the ideal, often unattainable, standard. While aiming high can motivate, perfectionism often leads to stress, burnout, and decreased productivity. This video covers the ins and outs of perfectionism, its impact on mental health, and practical tips to manage it. Whether you're a perfectionist or just curious, you'll walk away with a clearer understanding and actionable advice. Dive in and learn how to balance striving for excellence without letting it consume you. Defining perfectionism. Perfectionism is more than just wanting to do a good job. It's a mindset where anything less than perfect feels like failure. People who struggle with perfectionism often set extremely high standards for themselves. They believe that they must achieve these standards to feel good about themselves. What is perfectionism? Perfectionism is the belief that perfection can and should be achieved. It manifests in various ways. Thought patterns. Perfectionists often have an all-or-nothing mindset. They view situations in black and white terms. It's either perfect or a disaster, with no middle ground. Behavior. This can lead to over-preparation, procrastination, and a fear of failure. For instance, they might spend an excessive amount of time on a task to make sure it's flawless, or they might put off starting a project because they fear it won't meet their high standards. Types of perfectionism. Understanding the types of perfectionism can be the first step in recognizing and addressing it. Here are the main types. Self-oriented perfectionism. This type involves setting unrealistically high standards for oneself. People with self-oriented perfectionism are often their harshest critics. They place immense pressure on themselves to achieve perfection, which can lead to stress and burnout. Socially prescribed perfectionism. This type occurs when individuals believe that others expect them to be perfect. They might feel constant pressure from society, peers, or family to meet these expectations. This can lead to anxiety and depression, as the individual feels they are constantly being judged. Other-oriented perfectionism. This less common type involves holding others to impossibly high standards. People with other-oriented perfectionism can be very critical of others and often feel frustrated when those around them don't meet their expectations. Recognizing these types can help you understand why you or someone you know might act or think a certain way. It's the first step toward finding balance and relieving some of the stress that comes with perfectionism. The psychology behind perfectionism. Understanding perfectionism requires looking at its psychological roots. This section explores these origins and how they link to certain personality traits. Root causes. Psychological theories and research delve into the origins of perfectionism. Genetic factors can play a role. Some people are more prone to perfectionism because of inherited traits. Just like eye color or height, the tendency towards perfectionism can run in families. Environmental factors also significantly contribute. Growing up in an environment where high standards are constantly emphasized can shape one's mindset. If parents or teachers continually reward perfection and criticize anything less, a child may internalize these expectations. This often leads to high self-expectations. Kids learn to set high goals for themselves. Fear of failure. They become afraid of making mistakes, seeing them as a sign of personal failure. Striving for approval. They link their self-worth to their achievements. Social factors further influence perfectionism. Society often sends strong messages about the need to be perfect. Social media, in particular, bombards us with images of seemingly flawless lives, pushing many to compare themselves and strive for unattainable standards. This can result in pressure from peers. Friends or colleagues can create an environment where only the best is acceptable. Cultural expectations. Different cultures place varying levels of importance on perfection, impacting how individuals view themselves. Perfectionism and personality traits. Perfectionism isn't just about one's environment or genetics. It's also closely linked to personality traits. Two main traits often associated with perfectionism are conscientiousness and neuroticism. Conscientiousness. People high in conscientiousness are extremely organized, dependable, and goal-oriented. They often strive for perfection in their tasks because they're detail-focused and diligent. While being conscientious can lead to high achievement, it can also result in stress if the person sets impossible standards for themselves. Neuroticism. Those high in neuroticism experience emotional instability and anxiety. They may fear failure intensely and worry excessively about making mistakes. This fear drives them to try to be perfect, thinking it will protect them from criticism or disapproval. Understanding these traits and their connection to perfectionism can help in identifying and addressing the root causes of this mindset. By recognizing these patterns, it's possible to approach perfectionism more healthfully, reducing its negative impact on one's life. The impact of perfectionism. Perfectionism isn't just about setting high standards. It's about the impact those standards have. This section explores how perfectionism affects mental health, productivity, and relationships. Mental health consequences. Perfectionism can take a heavy toll on mental health. When you constantly strive to be perfect, you set yourself up for a lot of stress. This stress can lead to anxiety and depression. Imagine always feeling like you're not good enough. It's exhausting. Many perfectionists also experience chronic worry and fear of failure. They are constantly anxious about meeting their high standards. Over time, this anxiety can spiral into more severe mental health issues. Here's what happens. Stress. The never-ending quest for perfection creates a constant state of stress. Perfectionists often feel overwhelmed by their own expectations. Anxiety. The fear of not meeting these standards can result in persistent anxiety. It's a cycle of worrying about potential mistakes and outcomes. Depression. When perfectionists repeatedly feel they aren't good enough, it can lead to feelings of hopelessness and depression. The mental health consequences of perfectionism are serious and should not be overlooked. It's important to recognize these signs early and seek help if needed. Effects on productivity. Perfectionism can be a double-edged sword when it comes to productivity. On one hand, it can drive you to achieve great things. On the other hand, it can slow you down. Here's how. High standards. Perfectionists push themselves to produce top-quality work. This can result in impressive achievements and a strong work ethic. Procrastination. The fear of not being perfect can lead to putting off tasks. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive into strategies for managing perfectionism. See you in the next video. Thank you for joining us on this uplifting journey with Rays of Hope. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for more videos that spark hope and empowerment. Until next time, keep shining brightly. Thank you for watching.